What's going on, guys? This is Real Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. And today's episode is Bust Alert. Odell Beckham, I'm going to be talking about today. He is going to have a bust season. I think he's still being overdrafted, and that'll be some things that I'll cover this episode. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. So we got Odell Beckham today that we're going to be covering. I think he's going to bust big people. I think he's still being overdrafted. I mean, his ADP right now is in the 4th round, which I'm not liking. I'm not liking how expensive that is for Odell Beckham. So last year he finished with wide receiver 25. And it's like, come on now. We're going to really draft the guy in the 4th round that finished wide receiver 25. Let's not forget that he's on the Cleveland Browns, people. It's not a team that's actually built around success. They're just a bad team overall. And not saying that Odell Beckham is a bad wide receiver. He just didn't perform as well as we thought he could because of Baker, because of Kitchens, because of all these things that were going around him other than him. Whatever. Like I said, it's just a too expensive price tag on him in the 4th round to be drafting somebody that's going to finish, probably not even top 20. And I will say that will happen again because the Browns organization is just overall just a mess. And I do like Baker. I do like Baker for fantasy, but I really think that the 4th round is too expensive to be sitting here investing in a draft capital and an Odell Beckham. For the simple fact, he finished wide receiver 25. Now listen to this. Now we have guys that finish higher than him and then right after him. We have John Brown, for instance. He finished wide receiver 20. Where's he going? In the 9th round. We have Jameis Crowder that finished wide receiver 26. Now, Odell Beckham finished 25. He finished 26. Therefore, he's going in the 11th round. This is a clear case of just the name still sells. We have high hopes for Odell Beckham. We have high hopes for him to be a top 10, a top 5, or even like a 101, top wide receiver, but it's not going to happen. We haven't gotten that out of Odell Beckham in a while. And for me to be an owner, I take it personal for when he burns me back-to-back seasons in the playoffs. So it's either he's hurt or he's not going to play up to par. 10 to 12 to 13 points isn't something that we expect out of Odell Beckham, being that we're drafting him in probably like the first 3 rounds last season. And now, he drops around in the 4th round, but it's an early 4th round, where he's going at in the mainstream ADP right now. So it's like, I personally cannot take Odell Beckham, being that he said he's coming off the worst surgeries that he had in his career. And it's like, that doesn't bring me to believe that you're going to be playing faster, better, etc. I know he has time now to actually heal and work on his body, to work on his mechanics mentally, physically, or whatever with this pandemic going on. But I, again, just don't feel like I'm comfortable taking an Odell Beckham that high. Now, if he falls to me later than the 4th round, then okay, I'll take him. I have no problem putting him at my flex position, but we're drafting Odell Beckham with the likes of, people possibly putting him at their wide receiver 1 or their wide receiver 2. I want no parts of that. I want Odell in my flex where I can work with that. I can be happy with that, week to week, if he puts up those like 10 to 13, 14 points. And again, you got guys like Jarvis Landry. He's going in the 5th round right now. He finished wide receiver 12. Why is he going in the 5th round? Because his name is not as, flashy as an Odell Beckham, and everybody just hits that panic button when all the wide receivers are off the board, by the time the 4th round come down. And you got guys that have great value in that round in the same exact round as Odell Beckham. But you got somebody like Jarvis Landry that finished wide receiver 12. He's been most consistent, more reliable wide receiver for the Browns and for PPR owners all through the years, even when he was with Miami. So, you know what you're getting out of Jarvis, and he's going a whole round later, if not later than that, where you could plug him into that flex position, and grab a stud running back or grab a running back that's on the rise or grab a running back that's like a rookie that has like some high draft capital in the 4th round there instead of a Odell Beckham, which you don't really know what you're getting. You would like to think you know what you're getting out of Odell Beckham, being that it's this big flashy name, but I can't take that risk this season because, I'm at all costs, I'm trying to bring home the goal to people. And I just feel as though Odell Beckham's not going to be able to do that. And, big ups to Chubb. He's another Brown that I would probably draft. I would draft Jarvis, obviously, that he's liable. But everything else and everybody else, I can't really see myself taking them at all. You know what I mean? Because overall, they're a bad team. They've been a bad team. That's the culture there. They're just a terrible team, a terrible organization. So it's kind of, you got to be cautious when you're drafting these Browns players. And the obvious red flags with Odell Beckham for the past couple of years have been there. You know what I mean? I won't count him, being injured. I believe it was 2017 where he got hurt in preseason, and then in the regular season he got hurt. And it was the Browns that did it, believe it or not. So I honestly, I wouldn't chalk that up to calling him injury prone, but it's the playoffs that really get me, where he burns me like the first round, or he doesn't play in the playoffs at all. That one year he had quad injuries. So it's more personal for me. I try to be not biased about this, but it's a known fact. Other owners can agree that they've been burned by Odell Beckham, that he's been on their shit list for a while now. Or some people are even saying do not draft him. That I'm not saying. I'm not saying do not draft Odell Beckham at all. I'm just saying be cautious. Don't do any reaching. And the fourth round's just a little expensive for me to, go out there and put him on my squad, being that, there's other options there. So it could be tempting, like I said, with the big name syndrome. I'm not a fan of it. Like, I had a video I had prior weeks before, the Tom Brady's, the Drew Brees', the Aaron Rodgers, all being overdrafted. Why are you taking Aaron Rodgers in the 5th round? Oh, because it's his big name. Like, people start to panic. And then the later rounds where you can get a Josh Allen, you can get a Tannehill, you can get all these other, not mediocre, but mid-tier QBs, and not have to go after the big names that burn you year after year. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother video itself. You can go back to my last video that I had with the late round QBs to avoid. And Odell Beckham, man, I honestly want him to prove me wrong this year, because I feel like every year I try to give him a chance. But this year I'm not giving him a chance to be on my roster with that high draft capital. So that's really all I got for you guys with Odell Beckham. I mean, hopefully he comes back faster. Hopefully he comes back stronger, like he said. But how much can we believe in that, being that he's been, burning us year after year? So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.